Good morning, my friends. We've been talking about self-compassion, as well as the power of self-forgiveness in that compassion. And today I'd like to talk with you about receptivity, receptive energy, as we need to be willing to receive and to flow, just like in-breath and out-breath. In order for self-compassion to sow its seeds and begin to grow, we need practice and openness, flexibility, curiosity, adaptability, without a willingness to be receptive around areas of self-forgiveness and self-compassion. The refusal to receive, whether intentional or not, can lead to inertia, withdrawal, and internal disconnection from our true feelings. Receptivity is essential to both awareness and acceptance. Awareness is the crucial first step for all of us, developing the capacity for self-observation and the capacity to be present without judgment for what we observe. And awareness requires an ongoing practice to increase receptivity and steady presence so that our inner observer can drop in and witness the basis of our reactivity and our habitual patterns of self-judgment. From this, with practice in self-compassion, opening our hearts in kindness, we become able to make friends with our reactivity and defensiveness and judgments of ourselves and others. Without acceptance and receptivity, self-awareness can create endless suffering. And that's the last thing we want to cultivate. From my perspective, there's nothing more simple or fundamental, inexpensive, useful, and universal as the basic breath practice of meditation with loving kindness and self-compassion. Let us enter into our meditation to build awareness and to build that inner observer, increasing our awareness with self-compassion. So be seated in your chair with your eyes gently closed, your hands in your lap, and quietly breathing. Allow the breath to straighten your shoulders and fill your chest as it comes in. And allow yourself to breathe all the way out so that your body feels empty and asks you for the next breath in. Give it that pause between breaths. That's the same pause that we need for awareness and receptivity. Pausing when you feel a judgment arising, and breathing in, I am receptive and open to all of those parts of me, the young ones, the cranky ones, the generous ones, the entitled parts, the critical parts, my loving parts, and my willing parts to practice self-compassion. As you breathe, breathe in and out your gratitude for all the parts of yourself, because without them you would not be yourself, including those parts that are your favorites and parts that you wish would arise very infrequently. They're all part of you, parts that call your attention as an observer to your very essence as you sit here today. Many parts may be healed from past work, and other parts remain raw and sometimes immature. And we breathe with every single one of them. If thoughts or memories are coming into your mind at this point, or objections to any of these parts, allow yourself to breathe with them, breathe with this part, and say, I see you, my entitlement. I forgive you for being yourself. I know you suffer, and I am here with you. And as any of those parts come to mind, you might invite some of them to come to mind. Assure them in the same way that you know them. You know that they are suffering. And for the joyful parts, the loving parts, you know them, and you appreciate right to the bottom of your heart the way that they help you to restore anything that you have broken with your actions. Experience that gratitude for the parts inside that help you to love. Simply returning to the breath. Anytime you feel a judgment arising, receptivity through breath practice can be done at any time to center and reduce our reactivity. Receptive, curious, aware, and willing. Breathing in and breathing out. Receptivity and gratitude as those thoughts or memories or awareness of those parts of yourself come to mind. Breathing. Reducing and managing reactivity. And eventually becoming willing, with eyes open, to enter into whatever is in front of you, from within or without, with self-compassion. And by the way, there's no such thing as bad practice. Even when you have a great deal of distraction or agitation, it's simply the practice itself that is of greatest importance, and you can't do it wrong. The only wrong, if there is one, is not doing it at all. And so being unable to develop self-forgiveness and self-compassion. We have to practice, if we want to, increase both awareness and receptivity. So don't give up on yourself, no matter what. And despite how hard it might be some days, when you get started, come back to breathing, just like now. Compassion, self-compassion, receptivity. And when you're ready, allow yourself to open your eyes and come back into the room. Namaste. Amen.